Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Happy New Year! Can you believe 2023 is here already? I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the Referrals Podcast. Because of you sharing the word, referring others to Referrals Podcast. Thank you so much. And I want to give you our greatest hits of 2022. What's interesting about this is we go back and look at the most downloaded episodes of 2022. And it was very interesting that in the top 10 were the best hits of 2021. Both of them were actually in our most downloaded top 10. But I will tell you that we did not include those two in the top 10 for 2022 because all of these are unique and listening to, but you might want to go back and listen to the 2021 top 10 hits just to see what we were honored in for 2022 or 2021. So we are always kick off the new year with our top 10 podcast of the prior year. And this year, of course, is no different. This episode, we will be featuring episodes 10 through 6 in our top 10 countdown. And I feel a little bit like Casey Kasem from the American Top 40. Remember that? The Billboard America Top 40. So right off the bat, I have to give a special mention to episode 270. The reason that I have to give that a special mention is because it just came out recently, and it is the fastest rising downloaded episode of all of our podcast episodes ever. So you may want to check out 270 before you even get into the rest of these. So episode 270 gets special mention as the fast riser. And in fact, the fastest downloaded episodes that we've ever had is episode 270. That's with Thommy, Sandvick, and myself, and you might want to check it out. The number 10 most downloaded episode is episode 236 with Clayne Wayman. Over 50% of the people in the room referred him in 2 different rooms on 2 different days. And what's amazing about Clayne's story is that he conquered cancer in 2022. That's right. He was diagnosed with cancer. He took time off from his business and came back cured, healthier than ever before. And we just got the good news that they believe that he is 100% cancer-free at this point. So I cannot think of a better way to start our top 10 than episode 236 with Clayne Wayman. Over 50% of the people in the room referred him in 2 different rooms on 2 different days. Here it is. Today's guest was one of the most requested people we've ever had for Referrals Podcast. I heard from more people from the generosity generation that we should have this guy on than I've heard in years as to who we should be having on. So you're getting the opportunity to talk to a guy with his very first event. He had 26 attendees, which you might think, well, that's not bad, 14 referrals from 26 attendees. One of the attendees was a charity, which you're going to hear more about in a little bit. But how would you like to get over 50% referrals from your very first event? He's going to explain how he did that in just a little bit. And he's got so many more other great referral stories. I can't wait for you to get that. So without further ado, we've got to introduce our very special guest today. I'm very excited to have Clayne Wayman here. Clayne has been serving in the mortgage profession since March 1st, 2004 in the Salt Lake City, Utah area, and he has seen it all. And I will tell you, I would not doubt that he has seen it all because Salt Lake City is a different place to do business. I'm just telling you, I know. I've been there. I've done business there. I got, like one time I was on a flight and we got like delayed there. So we had to stay the day there and the night there, and just getting a drink in the town. And trust me, after the flights that I had, I needed a drink, and I don't even drink very much at all. But man, it's like, hey, wouldn't it be great to have a beer to celebrate the fact that we have 24-hour layover here? And so guess what? Just getting a drink was an interesting phenomenon. So I'll let you guys figure that out when you go to Salt Lake City. But with his unique blend of charm and robust knowledge in this great profession, he is sought after by some of the top real estate companies in Utah. His focus on giving clients the wow experience causes him to not only be a leader in client satisfaction, but he is a leader in the industry. He champions the art of communication by having a team of people who assist clients and realtors every step of the mortgage process. Clayne is a husband and father of 4 beautiful girls. His hobbies include yoga, tai chi, hiking, basketball, traveling, and being an inspirational prodigy in the lives of many friends and family. Clayne is greatly respected among his peers, colleagues, friends, generosity generation, and his family absolutely adores him. His wit and charm causes people to become addicted to his very pleasing and loving personality. And I will tell you that not only does his family absolutely adore him, but the generosity generation adores him, and I adore him. So here to welcome you to the Referrals Podcast, Clayne, I welcome you. Welcome to the Referrals Podcast.
Michael Maher, it's an absolute honor. You're a celebrity in my own book, and to be able to do it on Monday, the day that I call King's Day, is an absolute privilege.
One of the best ways to do a podcast is just like a timeline, chronographical, right? So I want you to start with your before 7L, before the 7L system and Gen and what you're doing with ReferCo. What was your business model before that?
So I would say my business model, it had some structure, but it lacked a lot of structure. And one piece that I didn't have at all was I wasn't really honed in on events. I didn't realize the power that events can energize not only your referral partners, but also your clients, your database. So that was a big gaping hole prior to Gen and the 7L system. So for me, the last 2 years, just given where the economy has been, as far as in the mortgage side of things, I had 2 record years, but in 2021, by the end of September, I had already surpassed a record of all volume before, but something happened in October. October is my warning sign for the next year. So if I don't have a great October, I'm going like, oh shit, pardon me if I can say that kind of word on this podcast. Yep. And so I had in 2020, even though I had hit a record by the end of September, I had a huge oh no, because I like to do something I call marrying my years together. And if my October is slim, I'm in trouble coming into the next year.
So that's okay, right?
Yeah.
So I think you've hit it on the head. Is like you're using October as kind of a precursor for the year, and it also kind of sets you into motion with planning because you want to marry your years together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So what happened in October of 2021?
So what happened there was, it's like somebody turned the faucet off. Like the referrals weren't coming in, the clients weren't calling, and things were happening. And I was like, this is so strange. It felt weird. Rates were still really good. The real estate market was really hot, and my phone just wasn't ringing. And I'm like, I have to do something. And I reached out to the founder of our company, and I'm like, I need. I have some indicator. I mean, I've had a great year, but there's some indicators in my business that doesn't look good. What do you recommend? He said, read this book and then let's talk. And he gave me the 7 levels of communication.
Was this 2021 or 2020?
2021.
That's only 6 months ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Okay. I like it. So he gave you the book in October of 2021. Who gave you the book, by the way?
His name's Josh Steiche, founder of Integrity First Lending.
What was his last name again?
Steiche. You're
All
amazing.
right. So he gave you a book and said, read it. And it was 7L.
Yep. And I took a time off out of my office and I went into a coffee shop and for okay, so I guess I could get emotional just bringing it, but I've read lots of business books, but the Seven Levels of Communication was probably the first business book that made me cry.
Wow.
And
So
the
why did it make you cry? Like, I don't, I've gotten reactions of, oh my God, I can do this. Or I've also got people who are like, I'm thoroughly underwhelmed with your intelligence, right? I've had people say that to me before, or they say things like, well, I do all this when we all know they really don't, right?
yeah,
So I think it's one of those where I have had a few that said that they cried, but I'm interested in knowing what triggered in you.
yeah, it was, I mean, and it's a business book and so forth. So what it
Sure it
was,
is, Clayne. Sure it's a business book. You and I both know maybe a little bit different, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yes,
maybe
sir.
it's a business book, but maybe we
Maybe.
just made it a business book so that business people could become human too, right?
Yeah,
So, all right.
imagine that.
All right. So it's
So
a business book. You're not supposed to cry from a
yeah,
business book, right?
so there's a few reasons that made me cry.
Yeah.
One is the thing that came, and it's probably going to make me emotional right here, is it's like here's a guy who gets it. It really is about love.
hmm
Um,
So what in your
there's a,
background prove to you that it's about love? Like, you know what I mean? Like, not
yeah,
many people get that in the beginning. Most people think I'm going to do the networking stack and I'm going to get referrals, right?
yeah,
But it's about love, generosity, and appreciation at its heart and soul,
yeah,
and
yeah,
as deep as it goes, right? Deepest values of the culture.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so what made you in your background just know that it's all about love?
Well, I had a profound spiritual experience in 2017. And in that experience, as far as I was concerned, I had died, and I
Mm,
was up in the middle of a mountain range where there was no phone service. But I had a brother that was with me, and during that whole experience, I I experienced uh, I experienced not only pure love, but I experienced every human being as me. And it's kind of a weird way to say it. And so after that experience, I started interacting with my clients and realtors, kind of like that's actually me talking to myself. Is that what that was the reality I was living into?
hmm
And when I read Seven Levels of Communication, it was like there were things that I had adopted in my business, like the handwritten notes. And I've been doing handwritten notes ever since I was 10 years old, and then around 2017 is, but I had forgotten that, and I hadn't really applied it in my business until 2017 from that experience. And just the handwritten notes from 2017, I would go into real estate offices and I would have people come track me down, the people I've never met before, and they would say, "Are you the guy that sends the handwritten notes?" And I said, "Yeah, that's me." So you're saying that if I send you a referral today, by this evening, you're going to mail me a note? I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to." Like, you gotta be kidding me. And she did. And she sent me a referral. I sent her a thank you note. So thank you her for sending a referral for that. And I had one of my dear friends that I sent me a picture of all the notes I'd sent her for the past 5 years. They saved the note. And so my handwritten notes, these little power notes, and even in my office, in my mortgage office here, I'm known as the guy who sends out these really heartfelt notes. There's no, it's not the same note ever. It's something I just totally just do it from my heart,
hmm
and they're impactful even to this day.
Yeah, you have worked on uh, learning how to express appreciation pretty much for 5, 10 years, right?
Mhm.
And so and there's something to that. There's a power in being able to express appreciation, and we all know that what you appreciate appreciates, and that when you appreciate referrals and introductions and connections, you're going to get more of them, right? The what you
Mhm.
appreciate appreciates is whatever you want more of. Appreciate what you have, right?
Yeah.
If you want more great relationships, appreciate the ones you have. Like your take care of your peeps day on Thursday. You take care of your peeps, you appreciate them on Thursdays, and guess what? You're going to get more great peeps in your life.
Yeah.
And that's the key, right? Is looking at what we have, not at what we want or whatever it may be. So I love that. And it sounds like that you've gotten really good at connecting your heart to paper, which is
Hmm.
difficult for a lot of people. I
Yeah.
love that. And I did see the picture that you shared in Gen of all the handwritten notes
From
that
one
that
person.
that person had received from you, and they had them posted. Hey, is that better than a marketing piece? Do you think that you would have put all your flyers, your mortgage flyers, up on the wall like that?
Not even a flying chance.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the handwritten note is the most powerful marketing piece that leaves your office on a daily basis. And I'm not just a believer. I'm not
Yeah.
just a spouter, right? I'm a writer. And, I'm still working on perfecting the art of expressing appreciation. I'm still not perfect. I still have a long ways to go.
I have a dedicated drawer in my office to notes. This
Yeah,
entire drawer is notes, a
yeah.
variety of notes.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
So
I
it's a
love it.
unique note every time.
Yeah. Okay, that was awesome. Now we're going to continue our countdown with number 9. Episode number 9 is with one of our coaches, Thommy Sandvick. It's episode 235. Go from average to nacho average with Thommy Sandvick. Here it is. Give it a listen. Without further ado, let me welcome Thommy Sandvick back to Referrals Podcast. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Always happy to be here. It is so excited as always.
We were about due. I think in
Yeah.
the 4 years or 3.5 years, it's been about every 7 or 8 months. So
Mhm.
we were about due to have Thommy back with us, and he is such a success story. And I'm telling you, it just when you hear it, you're going to really relate to it because I think what his journey is, it really shows that if you implement and if you really put your heart and soul and mind in the right place, the feet will follow and the people will follow. And people follow Thommy to the point where literally just this week he spoke to a large group of networkers, people in networking, and he spoke to them on one of the strategies from 7L and got asked to do even more in the future with them. He did such a great job. So that's who Thommy Sandvick is in a nutshell. So I really want to start in the beginning. So we kind of have two worlds. We had before 7L and then during 7L and what's going on in your life now. So tell us a little bit about before 7L and before reading the book and kind of coming into the generosity generation journey that is yours.
Yeah, well, I think first thing is I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin, originally, right? Grew up in the country, actually in Houston, Minnesota, and commuted all the time to Wisconsin, and so just had a pretty like mundane childhood that way. And but I always had that spark for entrepreneurship. I always was looking for the next way to make a little extra money that wasn't a job. All the way back to selling. Do you remember Beanie Babies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, selling Beanie Babies on eBay in 1998. Wasn't even old enough to have an account, and I was selling Beanie Babies on eBay in 8th grade. So it was. I always was looking for something to really make. Just a way to make extra money. And over the course of that, really finally.
So hold a
landed,
second, I got to ask you
yeah,
about that. All right, so
yeah.
why Beanie Babies? Like, so you were buying them and reselling them? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, basically just saw an opportunity to to make money and jump on the hot trend, basically. So
Yeah, the fad trend, right? There's a lot of people
exactly.
that do really well with that. And Beanie Babies are making a comeback.
Yeah, yeah.
They're recycling and bringing back the Beanie Babies, and now there's like NCAA mascot Beanie Babies, and like a bunch of things that they're doing. So
this 90s nostalgia is winning right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was 80s nostalgia for a while. Now now it's 90s nostalgia.
Just shows how old I'm getting, but
what was the biggest lesson that you learned at a young age as a teenager selling Beanie Babies? Like what did you get from that experience that maybe catapulted you to where you are today?
I think just really recognizing the power of business and that you can create opportunities from if you just look at things a little bit different. And I think that's a lot of what carried me forward as I continued to try to find my footing in that realm, in the business realm in general.
Nice. All right. So after Beanie Babies and selling Beanie Babies, what did you do after that?
So fast forward a bit, right? I worked at Disney. Was Disney cast member, went on the Disney college program twice. Actually, loved it so much I came back. And then up to that point, so that's like leaning me more towards about 2010, when I was living in Orlando full time, working at Disney, and really had to make the inevitable choice of, do you do something that you're good at, or do you do what you love? And I in the moment, my choice was IT. So I have a degree in network administration from Western Technical College. So my background was IT, but I really actually wanted to be a DJ at Disney. And I've got something that we're going to come back around to that. Really wanted to be a DJ. I whole story behind that, but it's I love music. I love dancing, as anyone who knows me knows. Just look at my Facebook profile. You can clearly see that.
All right, hold on a second. I got to interrupt you right there, because I have to tell you that Max, when he was like 6 or 7 years old, was invited to Mickey Mouse's Christmas party. So we went down there for his Christmas party, and I'm telling you right now, DJ is a special job, because I will tell you that he had Max hopping all night long, and not only that, but he got to dance with all the Disney girls that were in the elf outfits. I wanted to dance with him. I mean, he's like that lucky dog over there dancing with all those cute girls, and he didn't have any clue. He was just right. But the DJ did such. It's like that is an art form to be a great DJ. And I remember him, like, he wasn't very old. He probably was 20, 21 years old. And I'm telling you, he had so much energy, and he was dancing just like, there's nothing like somebody who loves their job. And it was obvious that this DJ loved his job, which made Max love it even more, which made the elves and Mickey and Minnie were there, made them a lot more energetic. The energy of this party was fantastic. And that was the very first time that Max ever stayed up till midnight. And it was because of the energy. It was just it was a great thing. And then we slept till like noon the next day because we were all tired of dancing. But it was good.
Tends to happen. Yeah. It's so true. And now here's what's crazy. Is I actually was super shy in high school, right? You would not find me on the dance floor to save my life. I mean, I didn't even go to prom. I played Axis and Allies with my friends in their basement on prom night, right? That was me in high school. So it was a total transformation of finding the love of dance and entertainment and energy that kind of carried through some different experiences in life.
All right, when did the switch take place? I mean, we're talking about bigger things here. You went from someone who didn't go to prom and wasn't even going to go on the dance floor to a love of dancing.
Yeah.
Like where did you come into your own on that? Because a lot of people don't know this, but I know this about you, is that you've got a dream to do a thriller with a large group of friends, and you've actually done it a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean,
That's the thing.
Not only are you dancing, but you're doing a very specific dance and you're leading it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge transformation from
that,
lack of confidence, really, maybe,
yeah,
to a huge confidence. Like, where did that come from?
That came from the Disney College program. I was stationed at the golf courses, which I had no interest in golf. I didn't get to be in the parks. There were no kids, which that was okay with me, but it wasn't really the Disney experience that I wanted. Well, Disney has this complex that used to exist called Pleasure Island, and they had 6 or 7 different dance clubs. Mm-hmm. And so I immediately
adults only, by the way.
Yeah, adults only, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so I gravitated towards the 70s and 80s club called A-Tracks. And one thing led to another, and I ended up picking up a lot of extra hours as a door host at A-Tracks. So I would go to work at the golf course, work a full 8 hours, then get paid time and a half to dance all night long. Now I was a door host, but I was like the dancing door host, right? Now that came over a time of literally studying how other people were dancing and then finding my own way to do it. And that's actually where like the love of Michael Jackson came, because I was obviously seeing his music, but I just naturally was attracted to it. I think he was pretty good at that with his music.
Yeah, he's
right?
pretty popular.
Pretty popular guy.
Yeah.
So I really learned from there. And that led to the DJ job. When I got back home from the college program, they're like, oh, you were trained at Disney? Like, it didn't matter what I did at Disney. You had Disney on your resume. They're going to hire you. So of course they put me on all the Bridezilla shows. That's another story. But I mean, some crazy fun things. And that just that led to the desire to do Thriller, to learn it as an extra thing to do at these weddings. So I did a lot of weddings over the course of a couple of years. And so that was really the transformation, came from being in a very supportive, open environment. Like, I was going through the process of coming out at the same time that I was working at Disney. So there was also that component, just really surrounding yourself with people who think like you think and that are going to support you no matter what happens. And so that's why I'm such a Disney fanatic, because it was a major part of my story.
It's an inflection point in your life,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's, the mathematic in me, right, wants to, you have these arcs in your life, and there's, along your timeline, you kind of arc, and then sometimes there's a down, right? But then at the bottom of the down, or some part in the down, or even at a level, there's this little flip, right? And it's an uptick in your life. Difference maker, a catalytic moment, right? For catalyst, and it's an inflection point. And Disney really was a huge inflection point for you as far as growing who you are, growing confident, and coming out, and all the things that had to be involved with doing that, and all of that, it turned out to be a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's
all the way
amazing.
back, right?
Well, I hope that you got something out of that snippet. That was fantastic. And we all know that we're not so average. We're not so average. We're above average. So now we have episode 230 with John David Mann, which captured the number 8 spot with The Go-Giver Marriage, which, if you have not read the book, is a phenomenal book. I was asked to endorse Go-Giver Marriage with John David Mann. John David and also Bob Berg are good friends of mine. They are famous for their Go-Giver series. And when he asked me to endorse it, I said yes. And I actually wrote an endorsement. And I said, what a book, what a message. Love, appreciation, and the spirit of generosity. The world is long overdue for the 5 secrets to lasting love. And he was nice enough to put that into the book and asked me for the endorsement. And I want you to know that I told him when he asked for the endorsement, I will do even more than that. I would love to have him on Referrals podcast. He came on and knocked it out of the park. And I am happy to say that the number 8 most downloaded episodes of 2022 for Referrals podcast is episode 230 with John David Mann on the Go Giver Marriage. Check it out. John David Mann is the co-author of more than 30 books, including 4, count them people, 4 New York Times bestsellers and 5 national bestsellers. His classic 2008 parable, The Go-Giver, co-authored with our friend Bob Berg, earned the 2017 Living Now Book Awards Evergreen Medal, given for its contribution to positive global change. Without further ado, let's welcome John David Mann to Referrals Podcast.
Hey, Michael, thank you so much for that stellar introduction. This has been a long time coming. We've known each other by the association of our friends, right? For years and years and years. But this is the first time we've done this, and it's genuinely a pleasure to be here.
Well, I have to tell you on the Go Giver side that it also has to be like one of the most referred books ever. You know, people write, hey, what's a book I should read when it comes to real estate or mortgage or sales or whatever it may be? And everybody says the Go Giver, right? It's just one of the most referred books of all time. And if anybody hasn't read that book, then guess what? While you're waiting for the release of this next book, make sure you do your homework and read the Go Giver. So also, we have the distinct pleasure of adding, I'm not going to say the better half, but I'm going to say half of this power couple. It is Anna Gabriel Mann, who earned her degree in clinical psychology before going on to serve as a celebrated educator, therapist, corporate trainer, speaker, and coach. She currently coaches Go Giver Marriage clients and leads the Go Giver Marriage Coaches Training Program, training coaches from around the globe. Anna, welcome to Referrals Podcast.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, both of you. And I read the book, right? And it's just one of those where the lead in on this is, you know, John and Bob went to tackle sales in the most untraditional, non-traditional way. It is like, oh my gosh, you mean I don't have to be a go-getter, I can be a go-giver. And they won, right? They won that battle. That's like they took on the challenge and they won. And then it's like, you know what? Sales isn't a big enough challenge. We're going to take on leadership. Like, what? And they came out with Go Giver Leader, right? And it's like Go Giver Leaders. And guess what? They took on leadership, took on the challenge, and they won. Now, are you kidding? We are going to take on marriage. Maybe the number one biggest challenge in the world today, or at least in the United States. You're going to take on marriage. And guess what? I read the book. You win again. You win again. I will tell you that I was just talking to Sherry, and it was just like, we always thought, like, we always wished there was a book on having a child, right? And just like how to raise a child. Where's the manual on how to raise a child? And in the same breath, it's like, where's the guidebook on marriage? And here you are, you wrote it. So I have to tell you, so where, and I'll start with you, Anna, ladies first. Where did the seeds of Go Giver Marriage uproot? Where did that start?
You know, it started the day that John took the original Go Giver off of his printer and handed it to me. And I read it, and I remember just putting it down and saying, wow, this is phenomenal, number one. But this would also make an incredible book about marriage and about relationships. And that was the seed moment where, you know, I'm his first reader on every book. So I was the person who saw it right away. And that was the seed moment where the two of us started dreaming of this book, because, you know, we have a marriage that for years and years, friends approach us and say, what's your secret sauce? You know, what is it about the two of you? You've been together 25 years and it's like you're newlyweds. And so we were, you know, we waited because there were other Go Giver books that needed to come in advance of this. But, you know, when the pandemic hit, it was suddenly the moment we realized that we were home, we really wanted to tackle this project. And we also knew that marriages all over the world were confined and struggling and going through a lot of stuff, being so enclosed.
Well, with the pandemic and the epidemic, it was one of those where it's like, we've never been closer than ever. And the problem is, we've never been closer than ever. It's like, wow, we're spending like 24/7, 365 together. That may be too much, and managing that. But all the stats are, 50% of all marriages end in divorce, and then the divorcees turn into other divorces and so on and so forth. We know people that have been married 3-4 times and that kind of thing. Sure. What if we could just solve this thing called marriage, and John, you wrote The Go-Giver. So how does this book differ from like the message of The Go-Giver?
It's interesting because, somebody else asked us, why do a book on marriage after all that you've established this business brand so firmly and so broadly? And in a sense, it's actually not different at all. In a sense, they're all, you mentioned the leadership book, there's the Go-Giver Influencer, there's Go-Giver Sell More, then there's the Go-Giver Marriage. In a sense, they're all the same book, in one sense, which is it's the same principle at the core. It's what we've come to call the Pindar principle, which simply says the more you give, the more you have. It's counterintuitive from traditional economics, which says the more you give, the less you have. Well, human interaction doesn't work that way. It's the more generous you are. I think that I'm preaching to the choir here when I talk about generosity.
Maybe, but we need to keep preaching it.
Sure, right? Why not? Preach it, brother, right?
Yeah.
So, Anna said our friends would ask us, what's your secret sauce? And we thought about that a lot, honestly, because we didn't want to take our life, our love, our happiness, we didn't want to take it for granted. We actually wanted to reverse engineer it. What makes this tick? Why are we so happy anyway together? And we both came to the same thing, which is that we approach our relationship from a spirit of generosity. Mm-hmm. And that means several things. And in all of them, they're similar to the other Go-Giver books in this core principle of living with generosity. What's different, obviously, is that this isn't a book really aimed at the business sector primarily. It's aimed at the relationship sector, which is everybody. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the divorce rate. Yeah, there's the people who get divorced. We're also interested in the people who don't. Yeah. Because there are a lot of marriages out there, a lot of relationships out there, long-term relationships where the people are, yes, they're together in the same household. They don't split, but they're nowhere near as happy as they could be. Maybe they're not anywhere as happy as they were once. So Valentine's Day, romance, every relationship is burning like a fire when it starts. Harville Hendricks and Helen McKelly Hunt, they said in their endorsement of the book, they said, falling in love is easy. Staying in love, that's the tricky part. And that's what we want to address, is that long-term lasting love. That's what we wanted to really take head on in this book.
So I mean, I got to go right to that. Like, all right, so how do we establish lasting love? I mean, where does that come from? What's the secret, so to speak? Anna, what would you say as far as coming out of the book? What do you disclose? What makes this different than other books, and what makes lasting love?
Well, one of the things that I would share is that the 5 secrets that we outline in the book are all based on psychological principles of developmental theory. And I have the greatest hope for the generation that listens to your podcast, because I really believe that a lot of people in that generation did come out of divorced families, because our generation was terrible at divorce. And it's not like it isn't still continuing at all ages. But I really feel that there's a new generation coming forward that not only wants to understand what the secrets are, but they really want to employ them. They want to stay married. They want to stay happy. They want to keep that sense of intimacy and connection.
Wow. What a great message. The Go-Giver Marriage with John David Mann. What a topic as well. How it's just not a topic, a relationship of the marriage that is tackled enough. And I hope you are interested enough to do a couple of things from that one. That is, number one, listen to the complete episode of episode 235. I'm sorry, 230. And also, I hope you are incentivized to go get the book, The Go-Giver Marriage. Check that out. It's a great little read. Probably can read it in an evening and apply it the very same evening, perhaps even save your marriage or find long-lasting love. I love it. So that was number 8, and we're off to number 7. The number 7 most downloaded episodes of 2022 is episode 229 with Tara Carter and Pauly Domenech, two of my favorite people. They helped me co-host Referral Mastery Summit 2022 in Orlando, Florida, and their episode on do this before going to sleep each night was the number 7 most downloaded episode. You are going to love that. And I will tell you, this is an opportunity for me to encourage you to check out 30 Mornings. It is our morning ritual mastery class that we do each and every morning. You can sign up literally right now. It did start Monday, but you can sign up now and catch up very easily. If you signed up tomorrow or the next day, it might be too late, but check out 30mornings.com. It is taught by Pauly Domenech and Angela Gribbins on the East Coast and Shalee Davis and Neil Smith on the West Coast. But if you're in the Mountain Time Zone or Central Time Zone, you can enjoy the class as well. Just sign up for the time that is right for you. Without further ado, here is number 7, episode 229 with Tara Carter and Pauly Domenech. Do this before going to sleep each night. Enjoy. If you think about what you do, a third of your time, it is sleep. What if we could master that sleep to the point where the other 16 hours of the day, we are on fire. We are uber productive. We know we have no stress. We already made a bunch of decisions. The bottom line is that's what we're going to talk about today is how do we tone and team up to make our nightly ritual and Sunday night ritual the ultimate for ourselves. So the first guest that I want to bring on first is Tara Carter. Tara, with years of hospitality management, new construction, and marketing under her belt, she is one of the most sought after, and trust me on that, she is one of the most referred realtors, not just in Coral Springs, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale, Florida, South Florida. Trust me on this. I've seen it. It's like somebody says, hey, I need somebody in South Florida. Tara Carter, Tara Carter, Tara Carter, Tara. And it's to the point where it's like, dude, let somebody else have a breath. You know, like, are there any other agents in South Florida? So her team closed $30 million in the last couple of years, 100% referrals, and credits the success of that to the 7L strategies that feed her soul. By the way, I didn't write her bio. That she said that. I just want to throw that out there. Tara is a founding member of Michael J. Maher Certified Referral Trainer, CRTs. Tara is known among her peers as a trailblazer for ideas, ethical business, and leading the industry in love, generosity, and appreciation. Tara, welcome back once again to Referrals Podcast.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be back here and flamingo with y'all.
Yay, flamingo. I'll tell you, every time I see a pink flamingo, I think of Tara. And it's so funny is now they have the pink flamingo emoji. Like,
finally.
Is there any other representation than Tara Carter on the pink flamingo? It's just like you see it. There's no way of thinking of anybody else. So
listen, I waited for that one for a long time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Tara Carter emoji, actually. They don't even call it the pink flamingo.
That's right. It's not even the pink flamingo. It's the Tara Carter emoji. You got your own emoji. How cool is that?
Finally.
Well, you heard his voice. Now you're going to hear even more from him. Our other special guest has also been on the Referrals podcast and is always recommended. Everybody's like, when are you going to have Pauly again on the Referrals podcast? And Guess what? It's happening today, right now, as a matter of fact. Pauly Domenech has always been driven for success. By a young age, he discovered that working hard and fighting for what he believed in could not only help him achieve his dreams, but help him to discover his passion to be an entrepreneur. Pauly got his professional start by promoting events. This eventually led him to a dynamic career in MMA. He quickly achieved the prestigious title of world champion in jiu-jitsu, but he didn't stop there. Next was a career in real estate. In 2015 and every year since, you can find him as a top performer at his company. Pauly is also one of only a handful of trainers that are officially certified with me as a certified referral trainer. He's a CRT and delivers his high energy and high impact presentations across the country. Pauly lives by the Emerald Coast beaches of Fort Walton, Florida, recently became a father, semi-recently became a father, and lives by the motto, be kind, remain savage, and change lives. Pauly Domenech, welcome back to the Referrals Podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much. What's up, guys? How are you all doing? I look forward to this particular podcast that sets you up for success with the Gen generation and just get it done. Let's do it.
I'm telling you, it's like there's a Florida feel to today's episode. So both of you from Florida. For those of you that don't know, Pauly is in the Panhandle and basically handles the entire Panhandle and Gulf Coast of Florida. So we've got Florida covered between the two of these, that's for sure. All right. These two could speak about a million topics when it comes to real estate, life, success, events. But you know what? We're not going to talk about any of that. We're going to focus on a couple of rituals that have made them uber successful, that allow them to prepare for every single day and every single week at a very high level. And first, I want to start with, it makes sense. Sunday, typically the first day of the week, Sunday night ritual. Tara, all right, why do you love the Sunday night ritual? And what are you, I think the first question is why should we have a Sunday night ritual?
Well, Sundays are for planning, right? Usually most people, not so much in real estate in our career, however, in other businesses, usually start your day on Mondays. People have the Monday blues and whatnot. However, when you actually look at your whole week, and humans are creatures of habit, and when you plan out your whole week, on Sundays, because this is a day that you can reflect on your previous week and prepare for the week that is ahead of you, you have so much clarity and less anxiety, more sleep, and just healthier habits and more business is really what that equates to, is more productivity.
It's wow, right? I can be happier, I can be healthier, I can be wealthier. Okay, so it sounds like the perfect ritual. It really does. And Tara, which of the suite, right? Which of that have you found that you've really put into your life the most?
The weekly preview.
Mm-hmm.
So taking together my biggest wins for that week from the past week. So on Sundays, if I take my biggest 3 to 5 wins and my major accomplishments from the past week, then I'm able to look at when last Sunday was, what were my big 3 rocks that I set out as my intentions to actually accomplish that week? And how far did I get? What percentage was that? What worked? What didn't work? What will I keep, improve, start, or stop doing? And then I can set my intentions for the week that's coming up. So the weekly overview, listing important events, deadlines, tasks in the coming week, the workouts. I'll text my trainer hey, can't do Tuesday, Thursday this week. I can only do Wednesday or Friday. And I break them down for the events and what's coming up, or my commitments that I've already agreed to. And I break them down between personal and professional. And once I break it down, I go one step further, which is days that I'll actually be completing those things. And then really there's just 2 more steps. It's the weekly big 3, listing the 3 objectives to advance my goals and projects this coming week. And then self-care, just kind of brainstorming in categories to schedule and make sure I get some me time and some refresh. And for the week, when it comes to my sleep, eat, move, connect, and relaxing. And that's probably my favorite part. And I think we talked about this recently, Michael, when I missed 2 weeks, which was recently, and that was because of travel, and I did not make it a priority, and I actually missed it. I was completely thrown off. So that's probably my favorite one to actually sit down and do.
Yeah, I love the KISS, right? What am I going to keep? What am I going to improve? What am I going to start? What am I going to stop? I love the big three. Nightly ritual, right? So we talked about the Sunday night ritual, and now we've got this thing that we do each night to kind of prepare ourselves for the next day. You know, how has it helped you, and what are the most important aspects of the nightly ritual for yourself?
Yeah, the nightly ritual really helps me with my morning ritual. So I use it as a support for my morning, because we do have decision fatigue. It's a thing. And when you wake up in the morning and you're trying to make all of these decisions, it gives you a reason to stay in bed, because you've got all these things that you've got to do. So I use the nightly ritual to support my morning. So when the morning comes, I already know, feet on the ground, get up, what I'm wearing, what I'm listening to, what I'm eating. And by the time I get that motion going, I've done so much in the morning that it's easy to run into doing my 30 mornings ritual. So that's really what I use that evening for. And that's what I love about the evening. This is my favorite part. When I finally get settled in and I'm going to bed, I think more about my struggles that I've had during the day, and I become grateful for them. And I say, thank you so much for these struggles. And I put those in my mind, and then I add something to it, whether it's the gratitude part or what am I going to do, and I visualize where it's going to get me. Because I truly believe that we don't just go through things, we grow through things.
There you go.
And so that we are put in a position where we're burdened with maybe what we think is a struggle for ourselves to get through, to inspire others when they see us go through it. So I really, really love that at night. And because I have myself prepared for the morning, I just go, thank you so much for what you're putting me through. Thank you so much for the struggles. I know it's going to help me grow. And then I have what I'm going to do in the morning. And when I wake up at 3:45 in the morning, I'm going to crush my day. I'm going to remain savage, and I'm going to change some lives. So let's go. And then I just lay back down.
How would you lay back down after there's no laying down, right? There, yeah, it's jumping and going, right? On fire. That was an awesome podcast. And here's what's amazing is that number 7 and number 6 literally are about the same thing. Episode number 228 with Chris Angel is the number 6 most downloaded episodes of 2022. What it takes to have sweet dreams. And I will tell you that you will absolutely love this program, and you will love that episode as I did. And what's amazing is that episode 7 and episode 6 both will intrigue you to check out 30evenings.com. I know I just talked about 30mornings.com. That's our January's featured mastery class. Our February featured masterclass is Sweet Dreams. And you may want to check it out at 30evenings.com. You will love it. And also, you will love our number 6 most downloaded episode of 2022, episode 228 with Chris Angel, What It Takes to Have Sweet Dreams. Check it out.
And this episode, we're going into Sunday night.
Yeah.
Fun night. Sunday night, fun night. So what do we do Sunday night, Michael? Walk me through
Yeah. So, you know, what we've discovered, and this has been kind of a accumulation of habits over 20 years and learning from the best of the best. We've discovered that really your morning starts the night before, right? And we've all discovered that, right? You go to bed at 2 a.m., then you've got to get up at 7 a.m. and all of a sudden you're dreary eyed and it just stinks, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those where a great morning starts with a great night's sleep, with, in our opinion, starts with a great ritual, right? And so what we're going to talk about the next 2 episodes are Sweet and Dreams. And Sweet Dreams are acronyms for the Sunday night ritual and the nightly ritual. And when you do these, you will have more sweet dreams. You will have sweeter dreams, but more importantly, when you're awake, you're going to achieve your dreams. You're going to be able to realize your dreams. And so that's kind of the segue into the very first ritual that I developed, and that was the Sunday night ritual.
Yeah.
And there is something called decision fatigue. The more decisions you make, the more likely you are to make a bad decision.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that my father always said, nothing good happens after midnight, Michael, was not just that it's dark, right? It's late, but it's because people are making poorer decisions the later in the day, right? So they're drinking more than they would. They're driving faster than they would. They're running stoplights that they wouldn't, right? They're making worse decisions. You don't want to be around when people are making bad decisions. You want to be around when people are making good decisions. So, so to prevent decision fatigue, what really intelligent people do, I didn't do it until I discovered what really intelligent people do, is they do what's called pre-decision, right? They decide before they get into the situation, right? So this pre-decision is we're going to make all these decisions when we're comfortable and when we're not stressed and we're not rushed. And so hence the Sunday night ritual. So at about 7 to 8 p.m., my entire family, actually mostly me and Sherry, but Max does participate in this with a piece that I'll show you in a little bit. But so it's SWEET. So the Sunday night ritual is the acronym SWEET.
Was that fantastic isn't it cool to do these little snippets? I love doing this every single year where we just give you kind of a highlight that you can take and watch the complete episode. It gives you kind of a taste of Referrals podcast and a taste of what we have to offer here. And I will tell you that we're going to cover the top 5 next week. In next week's episode, we will cover numbers 5 through the number 1 most downloaded episode of 2022 for Referrals podcast. Be sure to tune in next week as we reveal the top 5 episodes of 2022. While you are checking things out, please join us at joingengen.com. That's the way to join the generosity generation. Let us know that the Referrals podcast referred you to us and join the global referral community, the generosity generation. We'll see you at joingengen.com, and we'll see you next week when we count down the top 5 most downloaded episodes of 2022 for Referrals podcast. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.